Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see here on our channel, our website, or our social media. Reach out to me directly, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. Today we're discussing the 2019 Omega Seamaster Diver 300-meter chronograph. The chronograph variant of the 25th anniversary Diver 300-meter. This watch is stainless steel, 44 millimeters in diameter by 17.5 millimeters thick by 52.5 millimeters from lug to lug with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Throw it on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. The watch is broad and substantial. You get Royal Oak offshore wrist presence for a lot less money with more technical sophistication and overall durability. This is a watch that's impressive, probably not suitable for a wrist smaller than 15 centimeters circumference, but down to that size you should be just fine. Taking a quick look at the hardware, the bracelet's impressive. It was since the advent of this model family in 1993, but it's gotten better with time. It's still a bit of a hybrid of a sports and a dress bracelet, particularly with the small intermediate links and their polished flanks. But if you look at the edge, the bracelet has become more squared off on its edge over the years. It used to be more rounded off, and the squared off edge gives it a sportier demeanor. You can see that the removable links no longer pin sleeve fixed. They are now fixed by screws, so you can use your jeweler's screwdriver to size the watch. There is a half link for fine sizing, but you probably won't need it because now we have both a slider, 9.6 millimeters of incremental push button adjustment, and then we've got the fold out dive extension that's always been part of this model family. It's as redoubtable as ever, but the combination of these two, the slider and the fold out, used to be exclusive to the Planet Oceans and the Ploprofs. Now you can get it in the Diver 300 meter, which leads me to question why anyone would buy the Planet Ocean. You can see that the clasp is still milled from the solid and very impressive. We now have these olive-shaped, polished double trigger releases. The internal swing arms are milled out as well. There's a lovely little transitional polished bevel on the side. The case band, well, the whole lug profile really very familiar to Omega fans. We've seen them on innumerable Seamasters and Speedmasters since the mid-60s. We have those lyre style lugs that turn inward as well as outward with expanding polished bevels. Satin finished mid-case, longitudinal satin. You can see the new Conical Helium escape valve. That was new for 2018. It's no longer cylindrical, it's conical. It looks like a Reese's cup, and you can now open it while ascending from your dive. So that's the big difference. It can now be opened underwater. Around the crown side, screw down crown, 300 meter water resistance. By the way, the Helium escape valve is for saturation divers. For everyone else, it's just a fun talking point. We have the triggers for the chronograph, and they are blue ceramic, so highly scratch resistant. They have little shoulders that may look like screw downs, but these are not screw down pushers. The watch is always at the ready for chronograph action, so you don't need to worry about cumbersome screw downs. Now the timepiece includes a bezel with ratcheting action. It's probably the best I've heard on a Diver 300 meter. They get better and better with every generation. Let's hear. 120 clicks, very solid, very precise. The action's a lot lighter than it was in the past. Line up the luminescent pearl with the so-called James Bond skeleton hands, and you have a count-up 0 to 60-minute timer. The insert is blue ceramic, highly scratch-resistant. The fill for the numerals and the indices, that is white cold enamel, and then you have a dial to match, which is made of blue ceramic. So you have blue ceramic bezel insert, blue ceramic dial. The Omega waves are back. They're now laser cut. You have dished registers, and there's a mono counter over at 3 o'clock. That's your chronograph minutes and hours, so you can read those on one register, giving the dial a clean twin register appearance. You can see zirconium oxide down below the cannon pinion. It's the chemical formula for ceramic, and of course for this generation the date moves down to 6 o'clock on all the Diver 300 meters. The indices themselves are applique, so the James Bond Seamaster moving up in the world, mine from the late 90s, features printed indices. Turn the watch over, and by the way, you'll note the new pivoted end links to the bracelet makes this one a little bit shorter across the wrist in spite of being large. You have the caliber 9900, so whereas the standard Diver 300 meter features the 8800, not the full fat 8900. This actually gives you the twin barrel 60-hour power reserve 9900 that you'll find in the Planet Ocean chronos. So mechanically they're identical. Now screw out the crown, you can see two features. One is hacking seconds. That's simple, everything stops. The other is a feature not included on the standard Diver 300 meter because of its caliber 8800. You have that time zone hour hand that allows you to jump the date forward and backward and change everything. Well, the chronograph, the hours, or I should say the chronograph, the seconds and the minutes remain undisturbed. So that's a useful feature that you don't get on the standard Diver 300 meter. So it's nice to have it on the chronograph. The twin mainspring barrels give you a 60-hour power reserve compared to the standard watch's 55, but they also give you better torque release, so after 24 or 48 hours, the watch doesn't lose a ton of amplitude like the single barrel 8800 does. It has a 25,200 vibration per hour beat rate and the tri-level coaxial. This is a George Daniels invention, and if you're not familiar with him, well worth a Google search. And he invented the system in 1974. Omega industrialized it in 1999. It is both a direct and indirect impulse system with tangential contact between the impulsing and impulsed surfaces. The result is lower maintenance requirements, better precision, longer power reserve. You could just about see it underneath the balance bridge. For shock resistance, you get a full bridge and a free-sprung index, so it's a very tough watch, and a silicone hairspring that makes the watch effectively amagnetic. Rotate the watch back over and you can see we have a column wheel underneath a skeletonized bridge that allows you to see the column wheel structure in action. That ensures a crisp feel. It's a little bit better than a moon watch, which is a cam system, a good one, but a cam system. So you have that premium column wheel chronograph action here. You feel it, you hear it. You also have a vertical clutch system, so the seconds hand engages without any jump or stagger. And if you're of a mind to simply leave your watch running and the chronograph on full time, you can have your seconds, your minutes, and your hours at center. It's a master chronometer, which means it's been tested to the COSC standards and beyond. 6-position rather than 5-position testing, full watch testing rather than bare movement, winding efficiency, power reserve, chronometric performance, water resistance, anti-magnetism. All of that is part of the Metas Master Chronometer Test, which was devised by Omega in conjunction with the Swiss Federal Institute of Metrology. All of which is to say you're getting a heck of a lot of dive watch. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. We're back with the Diver Chrono. Note the minute hand and the bezel pearl are green to allow them to be differentiated quickly in the dark or below the surface.